All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Home of in racing. This is All in Indiana Sports. All right, we're gonna do that again. See, I messed up this time. You're welcome.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Home to the cradle of basketball, the rise of football, and the greatest spectacle in racing. This is All Indiana Sports, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. 2 more games in the books, splitting the season 2 and 2. We'll talk about the payback game in Atlanta and the close one with the Liberty. So let's go all in.
That's correct. I'm Kevin, my wife Alexis, and we are happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports Network. What are you laughing at?
My custard.
It's a good one. All right. It is another, since you are here, although it wasn't that way yesterday, but it's another Red episode.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about the fever.
It's fever time. We had some stuff going on. Couldn't do game 3 by itself, so we do it here. We'll pick it up. Apparently, we're doing it in groups of 2.
Sure.
It works out well, just the 2 of us. Game 3
So punny.
at the Dream. This is the game after they lost to the Dream at home.
Yeah.
First of all, we got to talk about the court.
Yeah.
So hopefully if you're watching this, you watch the game. But if you didn't, go out and watch the highlights, come back here, talk about the court.
So
all right. How'd this go for you?
I just didn't like the court at all.
Okay.
I just thought it was so distracting, and then distracting with their uniforms and like the leggings and things that they were wearing.
The bright blue.
The blue.
Yeah.
In conjunction with like the black there.
Right. And the Cash App.
Yeah. I really don't like this whole, I guess I'm old school. I don't like the whole QR code.
You got to have sponsors.
I know, but I don't
Pay the
like
bills.
all of that stuff on their uniform. I just think it looks tacky, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
So I guess I'm old school. So this whole floor and everything, and I think it.
But then you were humbled because it was for a good purpose.
Yeah, I know. I was like
women's sports.
I
Let's
know.
get behind women's sports.
Yes, yeah. I'm totally I'm all for that, but
it was ugly.
it was ugly and distracting, and I felt like it was like AAU type of tournament type of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was not a fan. So I was actually really surprised when I think you told me that, or maybe I heard it on the game or something. I can't remember, but they were like, "Oh, people are really responding amazing to the floor, the design," and I was like, "Wait a minute, people like that. This is the majority of people liked it." So I'm probably the odd man out and not with the times or anything like that. So
what did you think of the music?
It was distracting and annoying and unnecessary. It was not needed. It was a great game. There was no reason.
It was.
I felt like
the selections were strange.
The selections were strange. It was awkward, and I just feel like they do way too much music in women's basketball. Period. I think that it is just. I think it's too much. It's not needed. The games are good, and the level of play is incredible. So there's no reason or need to have music to cover up maybe a low crowd or whatever. Because the games are good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
I'm weird, maybe.
You are not weird. I get you. All right. So let's get into the game.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Sophie Cunningham's first game after being sidelined. First 2 games, she ended up with 9 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block.
Yeah.
Going 3 for 6 from the floor and 1 for 2 from 3-point range. what was your general feel from what she brought? It's like custard, huh?
Custard is incredible. Katie's frozen custard in Waco.
If you want to sponsor,
amazing.
There you go,
guys. Anyway, I thought she was okay. So I have to, because you said something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you had said something. You're like, because I asked, I think the game before that or something about why isn't she playing? What's the deal with her? And then she played the next game. Well, you had said, well, some people maybe say that it's like secret weapon type of like they just aren't ready to let her off the bench yet. Could be something like that. And I was like, kind of like scoffed at it. It was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so we watched the game and I was like, holy cow, this girl is explosive and she's all over the place and she's quick. And
she can run the point, she can shoot the three, she can rebound.
Yeah. Well, it is funny. It's awesome. I love to watch she and Lexi out there at the same time.
Yep.
I think that they are a really great pair. They like complement each other well playing.
It's like Halliburton and McConnell on the same at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and they're both really, really fast and scrappy a little bit. And so I just think I think that they handle pressure really well. Like I think they both have really great attitudes whenever they're playing. So anyway, sorry, that was a lot.
No, that's great. Because then we got to talk about. Natasha Howard breakout vintage game. 26 points on 12 for 7 from the floor and 7 rebounds.
Is this her first year with the Fever?
No, she was drafted by the Fever originally.
Okay.
And then now is brought back in, I think, her 12th year in the league, something like that.
But I mean, like, is coming back?
This is free agent pickup.
Okay. Yeah, I think she was a really excellent choice and to add on to their roster. I think it was much needed. And I think after being seeing what they were missing from last season and the kind of the holes that were happening within the team and their chemistry to say, okay, what do we need to be a better team? I think Natasha Howard was a really good choice in bringing her onto the roster and filling some of those gaps.
And we talked about what went wrong with the Atlanta Dream in the first game. Some of that was the fact that your big three all scored 20-something, and then the rest of the people scored a little bit of nothing.
Yeah.
So
you didn't have the depth there.
Much more balanced offense this time. As you saw, Sophie almost had 10. But other than that, there were 4 in double figures, including Natasha Howard. The one thing that I felt was missing, though, and you mentioned, was Leah Boston.
Yeah,
didn't show up.
Yeah, she was flat. She just I don't. She wasn't necessarily bad.
Yeah,
she's like, I feel like she's really starting to sparkle. I know it sounds really kind of girly, but
it's women's sports.
Yeah, but I really feel like I do feel like she's trying to, like, I don't know. She's finding her groove and who she is, and like she kind of lights up when she's in that role. And I feel like, excuse me, she just didn't really find that role in that lane, and that groove. It just didn't happen with her. So
turns out it didn't really matter, because the new hallmark of this team is defense. And Brittany Griner had 21 points in the first game, and then 2 nights later she went for 5 and fouled out. They figured out what to do with the 6'8" tree in the middle. What is all of this?
I don't know. I think they figured out how to shut her down and how to, like,
double team.
Yeah. And I would be very honest with you. Like, I am not a huge Brittany Griner fan. But
careful in Waco.
I know, but I'm not originally from here, so it's not of me. Anyway, I'm just not a huge fan of her. But she's tough. She's like her height,
hard to deal with. Yeah,
her height alone is really tough to deal with. So I feel like they did a pretty good job. So.
Yeah. And then there was the Caitlin Clark, where she this season a little bit more is just kind of not backing down. She had a hard foul from, I think, Ryan Howard, out on the perimeter, and got a little,
chippy,
right?
Yeah.
But I heard that you have an issue. You have some beef with Caitlin right now.
No, I don't have some beef with Caitlin. I actually absolutely adore the girl. I think she's incredible.
But
I think when you're a high level athlete and you are you're able to use a platform to be a representative of women's sports and things, I think that she's doing it. I feel like she's doing a disservice to herself and her strength and who she is as a woman, and by just really coming after the refs on each and every call and kind of almost pouting about it a little bit, or like tantruming a little bit. So I love her. I think that I love when she gets rowdy. I love when she gets chippy. I love when the whole I love all that. I think I love it.
But stop begging for the call.
Yeah, I think stop begging for the call. It just doesn't look good.
Yep.
So, and it's something easy to fix. I think there are times that, you chirp back. I think there are times that you absolutely can do that. But if you do it all the time, it's less likely your weight of chirp is lessened, if that makes sense, if you're just constantly doing it. So I think she can use it. I think she should still keep it up. I think she just should be more selective of when she actually does that. So I don't say stop doing it. I say just be really selective about when you do it.
Speaking of which, there was another issue throughout the game, including Caitlin, which was foul trouble.
Oh yeah. I was so surprised.
It might have been this the second game in a row with these teams, so the refs knew going in you got to call it tight.
Yeah.
Once they crack down early, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I feel like they overdid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was too much, and
it always seems to be in the wrong spots too.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out its flow. When they start to get into a good flow, and I feel like the teams are playing well with each other, that's when the refs kind of
ticky-tack.
Yeah, get ticky-tacky with it. And I'm like, let him play a little bit. You want to see him. I don't know. You want to see
as a ref,
games.
Though, it's hard to bring it back in.
I know that.
Once you let it go.
I get that.
And you want to be consistent throughout the game, not only on both sides, but throughout the game. First whistle, last whistle should be the same kind of thing. So, all right, last question from this game.
Okay.
And this may be an ongoing kind of revisit at this, but how do the Fever get Dewana Bonner going? Because she scored 7 in the first game and has not topped that stat line, which obviously there's more to basketball than just scoring, but this is one thing that she has done really well over her career. Or is it important? Is she taking on a different role?
Yeah, I think she is. I think that's exactly what's happening, and I don't know that she knows that's what's happening. So I really encourage her. In watching her as as an athlete, I think we go through different seasons of injury, of highs, of lows, of yips, of all the things. I don't want to mention it necessarily because I don't think it's happening or anything like that. But anything like that, you go through ups and downs and flows, and she's with a new team and she's trying to figure out, we're early in the season still. So she's trying to figure out who she is on this team. You can practice together, but it really is completely different whenever it comes to game time and having that chemistry with the people who are on team. That takes time.
Yeah.
And I think that in the season of her, really want to encourage her that I don't think that she realizes that she's coming into a new role of who she is as a basketball player. And I really would like ask her to dig deep and see who she is as a leader on the Fever, because I think that she's really going to be pulled into a massive leadership role.
Yeah.
And I think she can do an incredible job. So
that segues us into Game 4, which she did not start.
Yeah.
Lexi Hall started in place of her first time this season. We saw that switch up against the defending champion Liberty. Any insights overall on the game before we jump into the things I've got here?
No, are we going to talk about DeWanna Bonner and her not starting? Kind of like segueing from that.
You can.
I have a little piece about that. Like, honestly, I didn't think anything of it. You mentioned it.
Yep.
I never would have probably noticed it. I think that I don't know that their starters really mean starters, if that makes sense. And I think that a little bit with the Pacers too. I think that they have some good depth there within the Pacers team. But like I think with Fever, I think that they're really working on figuring out different combinations of where they can find strength within their playing ability and who they are as a team. So I don't think somebody not starting really means anything. And I think that a lot of teams have gone away with that because it's just kind of like, in lots of different sports, you have different rotations of things of when you rotate athletes in. And they've done a ton of like researching and film work and all of these things to know who the Fever is, and they're going to do everything that they can to whatever and stop them.
Yep.
Both teams have do that. I mean, that's who they are. That's what they're supposed to do.
Sometimes you like a matchup a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a strength and it's rotation of how, and it's also, you have to think as a coach, how long you want a player out there on the court at a time. So you have to think about those rotations and when you want that to happen. Right. So it's a science.
Liberty
it's not
got
just
Sabrina Ionescu. So maybe you want Lexi to be that shutdown defender on her right from the get-go, get in her head.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
speaking of which, what's the pace of this game? Seemed a little bit more at a fever pitch.
Again, with the puns.
You're welcome.
Gosh. I actually thought that, do you remember what I said to you?
You're like, Liberty's going to tire out.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
I was like, Liberty's going to end up tiring out at this pace. And they really didn't. They kept up with them.
They've got some good depth of their own.
Yeah, but I want to back up to like, when I was watching the game, though, I wasn't impressed. Do you remember me saying that? I was like,
yep.
I feel like I'm having trouble. Like, it's a good game, and it was back and forth. It was not like,
right.
It wasn't necessarily, but I just felt like it was flat. Like they were both like, okay, we got to get through this game, that kind of thing. And then they wait. I hate that they wait.
Who? Fever?
The Fever. I hate that they wait so long to get into a game and get into a group. I hate that it takes them that amount of time. We've talked with.
Right. But once again, to the point of pace is sometimes it takes that long for you to wear down your opponent.
But but that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So then you have to adjust to that. You have to adjust to that.
To be fair, we talk about the deficits here. Like, they were down as much as 15 in the first half, but then they ended up being up, the Fever, as much as 12 with 4 minutes left. They were up 12 with 4 minutes left in the game.
It was so funny. Okay, so what's weird is as I was watching, do you remember when it was a really fun like basketball moment when Sophie and was it Kelsey? She was no, it was I don't know who it was. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody threw it, was trying to keep it from going out, and they threw it to the person that was also out.
Oh, Sophie, yeah.
It was
Sophie
and
and
who?
who
Was it Kelsey?
I think it was Dantes. It was right there.
Oh,
That
okay.
had just gone out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. And it was a really kind of like sweet moment. They were up and it was a little bit lighthearted,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And when that happened, I was like, that was a really sweet moment. I really love that. But there's going to be
They
a
lost
switch
the
in the game.
focus.
That's when that was when the switch in the game happened.
All right.
And I watched it and I was like, they are way too lighthearted. They're going to lose because of this lightheartedness right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly when I was like, oh, but I loved the moment. It was fun to watch. And I think like I even watched the crowd's reaction, like in the replay of it.
Yeah.
I watched the crowd's reaction because that was really fun. And they were all enjoying the game and everything. So I was like, that's still frustrating though. I don't know.
Yep. That led to a tie game. And
Yeah.
I mean, you know who on each team wants the ball
Mm-hmm.
in their hands.
Mhm.
It's either Sabrina Ionescu with the Liberty,
Okay.
or it's Caitlin Clark. And
Yeah.
it literally was that. It was
Yeah.
back and forth on that. Ended up with Sabrina getting fouled, gotten the free throws.
Mm-hmm.
They had a chance at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
With the free throws, that was a very questionable foul, I will say, especially at that point in the game. One of my, like, I try not to be too hard on the referees as much as possible, right? As I have grown in my wisdom and gotten, I wouldn't say age, but I've aged well. So, but like, I really don't like it when the refs come in at the end of the game and help decide the end of the game instead of letting the players on the court decide the game.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if there's an egregious foul, we need to call the foul.
That's different.
But this was Lexi Hall got beat, but still did not have anything going on lower body.
Yeah.
Had hands completely up.
Yeah.
Was perpendicular with her. And if anything, it was a good acting job by Sabrina to kind of do a.
That's what I was like.
I mean, she didn't quite do a Brunson, neck jerk, but
honestly,
we asked why there wasn't a challenge. The challenge did not happen because the Fever did not have a timeout. If you don't have a timeout, you cannot challenge because they cannot penalize you for a lost challenge.
honestly,
Stuff.
I know.
Stuff.
And yeah, it was really a tough break.
And then
But-
all of the Fever fans are going to want to know,
Yeah.
was it a foul? On Caitlin Clark's last-ditch three-point effort, she had possibly the best defender on her
Yeah.
that was on the court. Was it a foul? She made it try to seem, and then she talked to the refs like it was
Yeah, it wasn't. It's all ball. Like it was
up and under,
It was
but still all
yeah,
ball.
It was all ball.
Yep.
It was good. Like she
Yep.
did a great job. It was
Yep.
a great steal.
Yep.
I was like,
And then I have a couple more questions. No, just one more.
Oh,
question.
okay.
One more question.
yeah,
Last year's games with the Liberty were 102-66, 91-80, 104-68, and then finally an 83-78 win. I asked you this question last time. Is this a moral victory to only lose by 2 to the defending champions in that way?
yeah. I think I was watching one of the post game interviews, and I was, who is it? It's Jones. What's her first name?
Jones?
Yeah,
Jones.
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 Yeah.
Jones. See, now
You've got to look. Now you've got to look really quick. What's her name? No, not for the Fever.
Oh,
For
Liberty?
yeah, Liberty. What's her name? Yep.
Jaquel Jones.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones. Got it.
Okay.
Yep, got it. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, anyway, I was listening to a post game of hers. Oh, and I need to move a little bit. Sorry. Thanks for the gentle nudge.
I just didn't want you to fall off the edge there.
No, that's fine.
I mean,
if
you fall off camera,
it's fine.
They may think you're gone forever.
No, I'm like turning
off the edge of the world.
Problem. Anyway, so Jones, I was listening to her in one of the post-op things, and
post game.
We've had surgeries in our house here recently.
Scalpel.
Sorry. Post-game interviews.
Nailed it.
In one of the post-game interviews, and she was saying that the reporter asked her, "Did you expect this to be a playoff game already? To be in a playoff game already?" type of? And she was like, and she handled it really well. She was very classy in her response and everything. She's like, "We knew they were going to be tough. We knew that we had to come out, guns blazing and basically work really hard." But I was, I think that no, they didn't win. I think they could have. I'm frustrated that they let up. I saw the actual
Kelsey Mitchell missed.
Yeah, that too.
The layup.
Yeah.
The easy layup.
Yeah.
That can be a difference maker.
I know.
Right there.
I know. So I was like, I'm frustrated that they didn't win, but I also think, I think that it was a great game. It ended up being a really good game. I wish they would have started the game a little bit sooner instead of waiting until the second half like they tend to do.
I got you. Well, that is all that we have for today. Enjoy the race, and what a sports weekend.
This is Alexis.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to say all in Indiana.
That's correct.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.